Welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast with your host, Funk Roberts.
Hey, it's Funk Roberts, and welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast. This is episode number 93, and I'm your host, Funk Roberts. And if you don't know who I am a former professional athlete turned online fitness expert. I am a two-time Amazon best-selling author. I've also been highlighted and featured on CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox affiliates as a fitness expert. And I'm also known around the world as a man who helps men, just like you who are listening, over the age of 40 to naturally increase testosterone, to change your life through health and fitness, workouts, nutrition, supplementation, sleep, recovery, mindset, and everything to do with health. And I'm excited that you're here because in this episode, we're going to talk about the best testosterone supplement for men over 40, but for men in general. You know, if you are just first time tuning in, the focus, again, like I mentioned, is helping men completely transform their bodies, but also their health through focusing on balancing hormones and naturally increasing your testosterone levels. And that is done through lifestyle, right? And the unfortunate thing is when we reach the age of 30, our testosterone levels naturally decrease 1 to 2% every single year. So by the time you reach 40, 50, 60, 70, most men have low testosterone. Testosterone levels are the lowest they've ever been in modern day history. Right now, most men around the world, testosterone levels are 25% lower than they were a few decades ago. Back in the 80s, low testosterone was 500 nanograms per deciliter. So the range between what's normal would be between 500 nanograms per deciliter and 1,500. Now it's 250 and 1,000. So you can see the difference, and having so much more advancements in medicine and in technology and in information that is out there, it's crazy that men's testosterone levels are so low. And testosterone is everything for us. I mean, it's our libido, of course. It's the ability to allow us to lose belly fat, the ability for us to build muscle. It's our mood, it's our drive, it's our confidence, it's our energy, it's our metabolic health, it's our chronic health, it's everything that keeps us not only healthy, that not only transforms our body, but makes us a man, and we're suffering. It's an epidemic, low testosterone levels. So through my over40alpha.com program, I help men naturally increase testosterone. But once you have all of the tools, the pillars, right, you have, again, the mindset, the right mindset to know that you can naturally increase your testosterone. You have sleep, which is super important. You have recovery, so you don't get injured and keep cortisol levels low and stress levels low. When you have nutrition, you're feeding your body the right foods so that you can balance your hormones, you can increase your metabolism, you can naturally boost testosterone. And of course, workouts, exercise is super important. Then you add supplementation. And in this episode, I'm going to have Dr. Stephen Anton, who I partnered with to create the best testosterone supplement on the planet, as far as we're concerned, Alpha Max Test 3D. And this supplement is, we'll talk about this throughout the podcast. But one of the things that I wanted to introduce you to was the person, the man, the doctor who I formulated with. And also the reasoning behind putting the compounds that we did, because this is not just a testosterone supplement. This is not just something that's going to naturally increase your T levels, your testosterone levels, but we put compounds in here to balance your hormonal health, your metabolic health, your mood, to balance your estrogen levels. We do need estrogen, but not too much. And to help you build muscle, to help you burn fat, and support overall health. So it's not just, something that you take to increase your T levels or, of course, your libido, because both of those things will happen, but it's something that's going to help with your overall health. We thought about everything, and we're going to break down exactly what we put in here, why we put it in here, and why this is so effective, why so many men who have started taking this are having absolutely incredible results, including naturally increasing their testosterone levels while using this product. This is a powder. It's cherry flavor. It tastes absolutely amazing. And the final thing I want to talk about, and we'll talk about this also, but just want to kind of give you a little nugget is, with all the ingredients that we put in here, we wanted to make sure that, you're going to learn a lot about Dr. Stephen Anton, because he is research is huge for him. He's been part of, I think, over 70 research clinical trials that he's been involved with, from aging to metabolic health to testosterone to obesity and to cognitive stuff. And we wanted to make sure that the dose that we put into the testosterone product, Alpha Max Test 3D, were the doses that you would see in the research that backs the efficacy of that, the compound, the efficacy of the ingredient, right? Because a lot of times you will look at the label and you will look at the sales page or the marketing page, and it'll tell you it's got, tribulus in it. And we, tribulus through research is shown to help naturally increase free testosterone, which is great. But the research study may have had, 750 milligrams, whereas the testosterone product that you're taking may only have 300 or 200 milligrams. And yes, of course, that actual, compound, that actual ingredient does help, but in the study, they were using more. So we wanted to make sure that we use the formulation and the amount that was in the studies that proved the efficacy of that product or of that ingredient. So that was very important for us because, my name is on this, Funk Supplements, and it's all about results. It's all about getting you results. And so with that, I'm really excited for you to talk to, well, I'm going to talk to him, but you're going to meet Stephen Anton, and you're going to get a history of, how he got started, some of the accolades that he's had. And then you're also going to go to funksupplements.com, and you're going to use code podcast10, and you're going to grab yourself 3 bottles of Alpha Max Test 3D. I always suggest getting 3 bottles, 90-day supply, because that's really, you're going to, as soon as you take this for the first time, you're going to feel incredible effects. You're going to feel more energized. You're going to just be in a better mood. You're probably going to get better sleep right off the bat. But for it to really take heed of all of the incredible benefits that you will get with this supplement, 90 days is what I generally advise. But it will be totally up to you. Use code podcast10, go to funksupplements.com and grab your Alpha Max Test 3D supplement and enjoy the podcast with Dr. Stephen Anton. We are live, and welcome to this episode. I'm really excited about this episode today because I'm with my I don't know how to I don't know how to say this in a way where, when you have a baby, right? Because we made a baby. This person, I made a baby together. Okay. We made a baby together. And this baby comes from passion, from wanting to help people. And so my partner in crime, but in like the Robin Hood way, we created this testosterone product, Alpha Max Test 3D. And I'm really excited today to talk about not only why we created this, not only what's in it and what were the thought processes behind putting in it, but I also want to introduce Dr. Stephen Anton, because that is my partner in crime. We created this supplement together, and I wanted all of you guys to meet and learn more about Stephen Anton. So I'm really excited today to bring on Steve. Steve, how's it going, brother? How are you? And welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thanks, Funk. It's great to be here. Great to always be with you. So
yeah, man, it's great. So yeah, for sure. So Steve, let's start off with who you are, because let's start off with what's your background in regards to, just give us a little origin story about who you are and what you do.
Well, you got it. I'll try to. You interrupt me whenever. Let's just say that.
Oh, you go.
My origin is I've always been somebody who's passionate about performance, and I played sports my whole life, and so for the longest time what I wanted to do was become a professional athlete. And then when that dream was not actualized, I decided to looked more into factors that could enhance performance in terms of both in terms of academic performance, but also physical performance. And so for me, I became drawn to psychology. And I was debating in college between medicine and psychology for the longest time. And then I was exposed to a field called health psychology, which about 25 years ago now was a new thing. And the idea that our behavior influences our health and wellness or susceptibility to illness. And so when I learned about this field, I was definitely knew that's what I wanted to pursue. And so I ended up doing just that and pursuing a PhD here at the University of Florida back in like 2000. In the early 2000s was when I officially got the PhD in clinical and health psychology, which again is or behavioral medicine. And so I had the opportunity to really learn about the connection between what we do and our risk for disease processes. And at the time, it was all about treating obesity and how we can treat obesity through our lifestyle, eating and exercise behaviors, of course, at that time. From there, and stop me anytime again.
No, keep going.
From there, I ended up pursuing what's called a postdoctoral fellowship at a place called the Pennington Biomedical Research Center, located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And there, I got the opportunity to work with some of the giants in the fields of obesity, diabetes, metabolism, metabolic disease, and I also got exposed to this connection that was previously unknown to me on the connection between what we eat, how much we eat, and what we do in terms of exercise, and how that could potentially influence not just our body weight and not just our metabolism, but potentially our rate of aging. And because I was involved in a study called the Calorie Trial that looked at how much people were eating had the potential to influence what were called biomarkers of aging. And so, and what we did find indeed was that some of the biomarkers of aging, body temperature, insulin levels, DHEA levels, were indeed influenced by how much people were eating in that trial. Mainly I tell you that because that is what led me to want to pursue my current academic position and career at the University of Florida's Institute on Aging, and where I've been here since 2007, studying the effects of lifestyle interventions, biological compounds, testosterone itself on various outcomes related to healthy aging. Our whole goal is to preserve function, cognitive function, physical function, enhance quality of life. And so much of what I focus on relates to metabolic health and how that plays such a central role in all of these outcomes related to healthy aging. And so, for the past, I guess, since 2007, so over 15 years now, I've been here at the University of Florida. I started as an assistant professor, and I'm currently a full professor and oversee clinical research that's conducted within our Institute on Aging now. Yeah.
Wow, that's so. There you go. All right, guys, there you go. Legit. I got a couple of questions from some of the things that you talked about. First and foremost, sports. What sport were you looking at becoming a professional in?
Well, for me, I loved all sports. It started out with soccer, but then I gravitated towards baseball in high school, and also I wrestled for a little bit. But to answer your question directly, baseball would have been the sport that I had the most likelihood of becoming a professional.
What position?
I was a pitcher, and nice. The reason I even say that dream occurred was because I was able to throw a pretty fast fastball around 85 miles an hour when I was 15 years old. And so I thought there's potential here. However, there was other factors involved, psychological factors, and the fact that it'd probably be better if I was 6'4" or above to be a professional baseball pitcher. But nevertheless, it sparked the desire to better understand what influences performance in terms of psychologically speaking, but also physically and health speaking. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like me, baseball was one of the sports I played. And I was a pitcher too.
Oh, cool.
Now I'm talking 11, 12. I was 11 and 12, but I've always played like rep leagues, right? Like I always played the top. And the reason why I stopped playing baseball is because I wanted to pitch. And because I was fast and, I had good hand coordination, they had me in the field, which I didn't mind playing the field, but hey man, I want to pitch. I don't want to be in the outfield. But yeah, bigger guys who could throw harder. I could throw a lot of junk. I'm left-handed, but yeah, that was I love baseball. And then I played fastball, on the other end, but same thing. Like I always got put out in the field. It's just like, okay. And then I was on really good teams. So there wasn't many balls that were hit out in the field. And when you're younger, you're like a jack of all trades. Well, I was anyway. Like I played all sports. I played every sport at a high level. And I just kind of like, if I wasn't at the position I wanted to be, like I wanted to be a quarterback in football. And so I played quarterback in some ways, but then because I could run and because, and because of my size at that time, they wanted me to be the running backs. Like, man, I don't want to get hit every single, I don't care getting hit, but like, let me just play quarterback, man. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to sit in the pocket and Ron Jaworski that ball over everybody. But anyways, it became volleyball, but I do understand like what you're talking about, and it's cool that you wanted to play baseball. Like you want to be that you were a pitcher and you could pitch 85 miles. That's amazing at 15 years old, man. But again, that's America's pastime. So I'm sure there's a lot of competition.
Well, absolutely. The reason I laughed when I said that was my goal was because I think it's something like 1 out of every million players end up, having the potential to get signed by a, professional team, and maybe 1 out of every 5 million actually gets to the prime time, and it doesn't stay, in AAA or AA ball. Yeah.
Right.
Something.
Well, how old are you? How old are you?
So I just had a birthday. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm officially 47 years old now.
Okay, nice. So you're still a youngin'. Okay, I want to ask you about the food study you're in, because you talked about it's the amount of food had to do with aging, right? The biomarkers of aging. Yeah. Was it like when you say the amount of food? Was it the amount, or was it the type, or was it both?
Good question. So in that study, it was called the Calorie Pilot Study, and the participants for that study. It was a pilot study because there was, I think, 42 participants or a small number. And the goal was to see if restricting calories influenced these biomarkers of aging. And so they were all in the conditions were either calorie restriction alone, a 25% reduction from their baseline energy requirements, calorie restriction plus physical activity, which resulted in a 25% energy deficit, half from calories and half from physical activity, and then a very low calorie diet for a period of time until they lost 15% of their body weight, and then they were weight stable for the rest of the time, or a weight maintenance diet. And in all 4 conditions, the diet that was recommended or encouraged was the American Heart Association's Step 2 diet. So it was a higher carbohydrate, healthy fat, relatively low protein diet. That said, for many people who consume a fast food rich diet, it probably was an upgrade.
Right.
But so that factor is there. But the primary goal of the study wasn't to look at macronutrient composition or diet types per se, but more the effects of reducing the calorie intake on these biomarkers and other outcomes related to quality of life. Yeah.
I love research. How many research papers and clinical trials have you been a part of, do you think?
At this point, it's been a while. I've been I
50, 100.
In terms of actually the number of studies that I've been an investigator on is over 70. So that I've either been a principal investigator and conducted, or one of the investigators on the team. And so yes, around over 70 clinical trials at this point. And I think a number of publications is over 175 at this point in time, something like that.
It's amazing, man.
I don't know. It's just a matter of
Always.
consistently doing something for a period of time. And yeah, it's been a fun road, and the insights I've gained over time, I wouldn't trade them. Yeah.
Yeah, I love, like I said, I love research. And yeah, if I do think about it, 70 makes a lot of sense, because trials take a long time, right? Depending on like the timing of getting people to, well, funding, getting people, and then running the trial, and then writing the papers, and then trying to get the papers published, and then doing another trial. Like there's time, effort, and that goes into that. So 70 is huge, and you're only 47, and it's been since 2000. So that's incredible.
Well, thank you. You're absolutely right about a lot of people don't, I think, realize what goes into conducting a clinical trial. And you said it well. And some trials require more time and effort, especially if they involve multiple sites. So sometimes we do what's called multi-site trials, where you have around the country, let's say 8 different locations where the study is being conducted, and then you merge the data from the 8 different locations to have a much larger data set, a much more geographically representative study as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
take forever. Yeah.
Yeah, I worked on a trial that took 2 years. It was for aphasia. So aphasia language disorder that happens after a head injury, a stroke. But I worked at a place called the Aphasia Center. So it was a very big trial because we needed needed a lot of people. And basically what it was there were markers, not biomarkers, but markers that showed that people with severe aphasia. So first of all, we had to get people who had a severe aphasia, which meant that they couldn't really communicate. They knew what you were saying. They knew what they wanted to say. But when you have severe aphasia, because there's different levels of aphasia, you have to get those people. So again, but you need a big enough crop. So that's why it took years to do. But basically what it was we asked certain questions. This was Dr. Ora Kagan's PhD, certain questions. And so we'd have a volunteer come in, sit down with someone with aphasia, very severe aphasia, and ask them specific questions, and they need to get the answer from it. Well, when the volunteer went in the very first time, this is a volunteer in, whether they were being a speech pathologist or they were in school or they were in that industry. So we weren't just picking people out of random. There were people who were studying to be a speech pathologist or within neurological neuroscience. And pretty much every time they could not get answers. And so watching the interview go in, like watching the student try to communicate with the person with severe aphasia, and you feel bad because the frustration is there. Then Ora Kagan created a training that trained not only students, but trained people with aphasia how to communicate. So the people we used that were red level, they knew how to actually communicate. They knew because they had already taken this type of training. They knew the type of training that, and some of the keys that they needed to do to communicate with somebody. But we wanted to show that is a two-way street there, right? If one person knows how to do and the other person doesn't, it's going to be difficult. So they would do this training course that would teach them how to, using a book that Ora created with like pictures and how you ask yes, no questions, you write things down. Like there was a whole bunch of different things you would do in order to communicate with somebody through these questions. And so it would either be health professionals, mostly volunteers. So you set up a second interview. Now, remember the first interview, that same person with red aphasia remembers that first interview. So they're already like, oh, this person again, right? But now that person has the skills to communicate, and the difference, I'm getting goosebumps, night and day. You can see the difference not only in the way they got all the questions answered, but now the person with aphasia, again, maybe all they can do is go, right? But when you ask the right questions, yes, no, show them pictures,
Mm.
How old are you? Point here. They can point. Obviously, aphasia. Sometimes you have hemiplegia, right? Like, so you'll right or left side paralysis, depending, right? So the writing may not work, right? Because sometimes he would come in the first time and give him a pen. Here, write. And they're like, fuck, I can't write, but he can't say anything. He's like, right? But second time, it's unbelievable. And then you see the person with aphasia lean in, and now the conversation, like, it's unbelievable. So she revolutionized the way, you can communicate with people with aphasia. Anyways, I don't even know why I got into that, but it's just, I'm so fascinated with research, which brings me to the point where, when we decided to do this project, we'd met before at Vince Del Monte's conference that he had, right?
Yep.
Mastermind, right? And I think, had you already worked on other people's supplements? Like, you've, aside from being a professor at the University of Florida, working in the Department of Aging, which is perfect because that's really what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to prolong aging in men, right? Through behaviors, metabolic health, hormones, and anything else we can learn from you too. We're going to have you on the podcast more and more because you can bring so much wealth of knowledge, right? But had you done anything before? You had, hadn't you?
I absolutely had, and
Okay.
For one of the, in addition to my day job, like you said, for one of the passions I always had was discovering compounds or supplements that can truly make a difference in people's health, and so I actually connected with a good friend now here named Naomi Whittle, and she had been someone who had been a big developer or had companies that had grown in size and had a number of natural supplements out there. And we were testing one of her supplements in one of our trials on resveratrol. And over the course of that time, her and I became better friends. And then I became a scientific advisor for her companies and worked with some of her formulators in developing products for many years, for probably five to 7 years before she sold her company. And so we helped in developing products such as resveratrol, keratin, then another product called Staph Slim, which went on the Dr. Oz show, and that was designed to target abdominal belly fat, and it was a pretty great product for a number of years, and so I have had that experience, yes. And then before you and I connected, I was working with a couple companies in developing products for enhancing, you could say, libido in women and also in men, and related to obviously testosterone levels and other anabolic hormone levels. Before you and I reconnected. Yeah.
That's amazing because I don't know if you remember, there's a different packaging, but you remember our Lean Pro 30 because that's
absolutely. Yes.
I mean, you had it and you were just like, dude, this is awesome, right? Like
no doubt.
Yeah, so we have another version, Alpha Lean Pro, which is just, it doesn't have the probiotics, just because because of COVID and everything else, the price of protein and making and manufacturing it went through the roof. So there was a point where we're selling Lean Pro 30 for $99, but guys would still buy it. The only problem is I didn't feel good selling protein for $99.
Sure.
So now we found a way to make still very clean. It's now Alpha Lean Pro, still grass fed, still lactose free, still non-GMO, soy free. Everything is still the same. Very clean. Not as many ingredients. So we want to keep it very, very clean, lactose free, sugar free. But again, the taste and the digestion, which was something you had talked about before, liking the taste and then the digestion. It was just like, great. So that's where we started. That's where we kind of met. And then I reached out to you. I think I reached out to you and said, hey, man, I'm doing this and I need you, like literally.
It was good.
Right.
It was a nice surprise. Yeah. Because I remember our first meeting and I instantly had rapport with you. And I was like, this guy's passionate and he's got something good going on. And so then we connected there. And then, I don't know, maybe a year and a half later or something like that, I had the opportunity to reconnect. And that was when we both started talking about what could we do together and what programs you have. And then we both said, well, there is this product that involves helping men, with their testosterone. And then we got to brainstorming ideas to make a better one.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Am I missing anything about your story right now?
I mean,
Go.
I don't know if I said it clear enough just to make, probably I didn't, when I was saying about my initial interest being to help people with obesity lose weight, and then it transitioned into helping with metabolism in addition to weight, because so many people, unfortunately, nowadays are living with metabolic disease conditions and developing type 2 diabetes. And what I recognized is how, our lifestyle has such an influence on these metabolic conditions. And these metabolic conditions can accelerate rates of unhealthy aging and predispose us to disability, as most people know, and also worse disease conditions. And it's just an outcome that I don't think needs to happen. And so much of what I've done is look at how do we help people improve their metabolic health, because by doing that, you improve virtually all aspects of aging. And so a lot of the research I've done in the last 5 years has been related to intermittent fasting approaches that may have the potential to activate biological pathways that can reverse some of the metabolic issues that occur with aging. And, a lot of the goals, in addition to exercise, which obviously has beneficial effects, is to combine different lifestyle interventions to put people in a better state of optimal health. Having said all that, I still think that, there's this additional benefit that come from when you combine a certain lifestyle with the right combination of natural compounds or biological compounds that can work together synergistically to create a healthier metabolic state, which also leads to a healthier hormonal state, and everything's so bidirectional in biology. And so I don't know, I just wanted to make sure it was clear that my interest is not just in weight management, though I think that's huge. It's ultimately improving metabolic health so that you improve the health of every other system in the body.
And that's great that you said that, because that is really what we're trying to do. Like, what's the end result? The end result we want is hormonal balance. We want to age better. And aging doesn't mean face, but aging without, like you said, having the chronic diseases, the diabetes, being 99 and not in a wheelchair, being 99 and still being able to go hiking, still be able to do things because you put all the physical attributes in, but you're also the nutrition portion of it, whether it's a specific nutrition system that you're using, the compounds that you're using as well to help with that. All of those things combined, obviously keeping stress levels down and everything else, will allow us to live longer at a time where we're probably the unhealthiest we've ever been in the history of mankind. Like, that's not even a question. It's 2022. We have so much knowledge. We have so much technology. We have so many medical advancements. We have so many, fitness, online fitness, doctors who are willing to step outside of the box of just you're going to your GP, but doing studies like this, supplementation, to be in like $6 million men, like Steve Austin's. You know what I mean? We have the technology to be bionic men, and we're going the opposite direction. It makes no sense to me, but it does make sense to me because it's just the environment and the behaviors and the media and the lack of information, and you know what I mean? So it's crazy, so it makes sense that all of the metabolic health, the obesity, the aging, the hormones, all of that is about helping us live as healthy as we can be, right?
Absolutely. And you said something, the goal in my mind is healthy aging, or what we call health span. extending the health span. So that's not just age and longevity, but the time in which you're healthy and living a healthy life. And so we want that to obviously extend as long as possible. And one of the other insights that I had, which I should have mentioned, when we were here at the University of Florida involved in this huge multi-site trial that looked at the effects of testosterone supplementation in older hypogonadal men. Right. And what I saw was shocking in that when we looked at the baseline characteristics of these individuals, 95%, we were not selecting on this criteria, but 95% of the participants, of the men, had obesity. Wow. And so that told a story to me that, when you think about the connection between our body composition, our metabolic health, and our testosterone levels, that was an eye-opener for me, which is why I think it's so important that we address a person's metabolic health to then improve their hormonal health as well. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I've been preaching this for a while, but I know when I look at someone walking down the street, 1,000,000%, I know if they have a low testosterone and high estrogen levels, estradiol levels. I know, like I can see you walk, just looking at if you have man boobs, even if you're skinny, I can tell the skinny fat guys. I saw somebody walking down the road with their dog, tall, but most people would look at him if he had, like, if he was dressed up a little bit more and look, oh, that guy looks like he's healthy, but he had a t-shirt and shorts on because it's hot, and I could see his man boobs, and I could see his belly, right? Yeah. And I know he's not happy. Or if you have a big belly, 100% if you're obese. And I'm not judging, I just know, like, because a lot of times, like myself, when I was 39, I was big and puffy, but I had a big belly. But I still thought I had, like, I didn't think testosterone would have been an issue because to me, I was manly, right? Mm-hmm. Like I was big, it was muscular. I go to the gym. There's impossible for me to have low testosterone. Well, I did at that point. And so, the body composition definitely. And then also if the over 40 Alpha Brotherhood, you see like the guys who come back with their T levels or their T levels starting to increase, you just look at their body composition from the time they came into now. It's all the guys who are getting six-pack abs when before they came in were like, I don't care about the six-pack abs. I just want to lose 10 pounds or 15 pounds. But then they start losing the weight. They start building muscle. They start feeling better. Their testosterone levels go up. And now they can start to see the abs they haven't seen in 20, 30 years or sometimes never. And now it's about funk. I want those abs. How do I get those abs? Like, of course, I'll take you on a journey. But yeah, I love that you said all of that, because when we put this together, all of the things that you just talked about were some of the things. That was kind of the baseline, the template, right? We wanted testosterone optimization, obviously. We wanted metabolic health. That was important for you. I think you were talking how you kept, because you told me about that study and you brought that up. You're like, no, we need to address metabolic health in this supplement. Cortisol level management, of course, boosting their vitality and the blood flow. That was important. And, just healthy estrogen levels and better mood. So, what do you want to talk to? Like, you want to talk to like the metabolic health portion of it and some of the other things?
We can talk about any of it. I think I'm just glad you restated all the reasons that we came up with this product, because so many people, unfortunately, are living with chronic stress, and that leads to this elevated cortisol, 24 hours. And instead of just when we arise, which is the function of cortisol to get everything moving, but then we stay in this chronic stress state, and that results in abdominal fat accumulation, but also decreases the ability of the body to secrete testosterone and keep testosterone levels lower than they need to be. Yeah. So I just wanted to make that point. And I think there's a lot of reasons for it, one of which is that we're constantly exposed to technology, and in the sense of there's no escape the way that in the past maybe we would be out in nature and have a little time. And now it's like messages coming from every source you can imagine. And so I think it's really important for everybody to find some downtime away from technology for as often and you can on a daily basis, to just help your body rejuvenate in that way.
Yeah, disconnecting is huge from the phone, and yeah, I mean, we need to continue to do that as we get older, and put away the phone more. Like, I realize that, like, I don't need, like, when my phone rings, Angela's always like, "Oh, your phone's ringing." I'm like, "I don't care." Like, I don't care. What if I was on a plane? I wouldn't be able to answer the phone. So that whoever is calling me will have to wait until I'm available. I'm not a slave to my phone, right? Where a lot of ding, 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 oh my God, I gotta get that. No. That's not how it works over here, my man. It works like when I'm ready to pick that up, I'll pick it up, like that's how I need to disconnect from that. And then getting out in nature as much as possible, which is key. Definitely key. So I just want to kind of like start back up with like some of the different categories. So let's start off with I just want to back up by saying testosterone, for those of you who are listening, is the most important hormone. It's our male hormone. It's the hormone that affects you as you get older. 1% to 2% every single year, testosterone decreases due to aging, and then as we continue to age, it just does. It gets, that percentage increases, but that's just what we're up against without even doing anything. So it's naturally decreasing. Now you tie in all the way, our lifestyle, and that becomes a lot more prevalent because a lot of estrogenetic. I'm a big estrogen kick right now. So like learning more about estrogen. So hold on. Yes, I've been on an estrogen kick, how that affects our body. And so, testosterone is so important. So if you're feeling depressed, or you have no energy, or you have no drive, or you have no libido, or, you're having a hard time building muscle, losing weight, your sex drive, of course, and so many other things. If you're getting sick all the time, you're getting chronic illnesses, that all has to do with testosterone. The more testosterone you have, the more you'll be able to fight off that stuff, right? The chronic illnesses, the more you'll be able to build muscle and lose weight better, more effectively, and libido, drive, confidence, all that stuff. So, the first and foremost, we wanted to make sure that we put compounds in here that will help with hormone optimization, right? Silajat, maca, tribulus, tonkat ali. Those were some of the big ones, right?
Absolutely. And I know you've said this previously, but just to restate it, that all the compounds that we selected at doses that have been clinically studied. And so we didn't just take a small amount of each of these compounds, but the amount that was shown to be effective in most studies that we were able to identify.
Yeah, which was huge, because I was excited about that. And I was excited that you agreed to that, because, again, I just want to make sure that we created the best supplement, the best powder that we can, and doing when we could use that amount was huge. So yeah, that was great. So like tonkat ali and the tribulus, which you find in a lot of testosterone supplements, we just made sure we had the, if a study said that, significant increase of total and free testosterone concentrations happened when using 400 milligram, dose during a study, we're putting 400 milligrams of tonkat ali, not just because one said it, but 2 or 3 or more said at least 400. Some were 2, some were 3. So that was huge for us. That was big.
Absolutely. And consistently the compounds that we put in the hormone optimization blend showed elevated levels of testosterone, in both free and total, as you said, but also they also have, not surprisingly, effects on energy levels, as well as a few studies showed, improvements in muscular force and endurance. So, it's not surprising to me that all these other benefits come when you find compounds that can enhance testosterone, as well as, for example, lean mass was also shown to improve in another one of these studies.
Yeah, for sure. And then we moved into stress reduction, better moved in cognitive function, because actually I was going to talk about your cognitive. You did a study in cognitive function, right?
we've
prior?
done we've done a few studies. I've done a few studies that
Yeah.
have targeted cognitive function with different natural compounds. For example, the compound curcumin, we completed a study with, as well as compound resveratrol. I'm currently doing a study on the compound aged garlic extract.
Right.
All with the idea of improving cognitive function. And with resveratrol, we did see improvements in some aspects of cognitive function, such as processing speed, but not necessarily in all aspects of cognitive function. Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna ask you about the resveratrol thing because I think I wanna add that to the lineup, but we'll talk about that off.
you got it.
We'll talk about, but the other thing is, when you're stressed, it is cortisol that we're trying to decrease. We're not trying to completely get rid of it, because cortisol is a stress hormone that we need throughout the day. I mean, when we wake up, we need it. When we're probably right now, our cortisol levels are a little bit high because we're in a state where we have to focus, and we just need that cortisol. When we're working out, our cortisol levels are high, but too much cortisol, too much chronic cortisol, that's what not only decrease your T levels, but that's all the chronic health issues that you see, the strokes, the heart disease, cholesterol, blood pressure. So we wanted to make sure that we put things like L-theanine, magnesium, ashwagandha, things that will balance out our cortisol, our stress hormones, right?
You're on it. And personally, my experience with previously taking other testosterone boosting supplements was that I felt some effects sexually and otherwise, but I also felt overly agitated and never felt just good. And so it was really important to me to think about that personal experience when we were designing this product, that what compounds out there can help produce a nice calming but still focused effect. And L-theanine is one that has a number of studies now supporting its benefit on cognitive function, but in terms of also reducing cortisol levels. And then we all know magnesium has nice effects on muscle relaxation, but also can improve mood states too. And then the other compound that we thought had really an abundance of evidence for both stress reduction and also enhancing immune function is the compound holy basil. And so, again, we put the doses that had been studied clinically, or that had been shown in clinical trials to be effective. And so I really like how that, I believe the reason that myself and so many people who've tried this supplement say they just feel kind of good and relaxed in addition to energized is because of this complex. Yeah,
this is a game changer for me, because just like you said before, you tried other testosterone products and you're just like, you still feel a little agitated, you don't get that calmness. But in the midst of running two companies, crazy things happening all the time, I always felt relaxed and always felt like, okay, I can do this. Because remember, guys, as we get older, we become that patriarch, right? We are the ones that people look up to when shit hits a fan in your family, or if you run companies or you're in management. You don't want to be, tapping out because this is too stressful. You want to be, okay, people need me right now. There will be a time where I'll be able to unleash, but right now I need to be relaxed. I need to be like that Navy SEAL stoic man who, amongst all of this craziness, I can still stay calm and make sure everyone does what they need to do, and calming everybody down while I can attack whatever stress or whatever barrier is happening within the family or at work, or even with, you personally. Mm-hmm. Very important. And just feeling better. Like, so many men feel horrible right now. And they don't know why. They have why am I feeling like shit? I have no clue. And then that affects their drive. That affects them wanting to get off the couch, no working out, which, and then that affects their relationship with their kids, with their wives, and just depression. And I mean, it can get really bad from there, right?
No question. And I think you touched on it, but it's the irritability that was something I noticed in the past for myself when I took other products, that I was just more on edge. And with this product, it's not like I don't have energy, because we certainly do, but it's more that it's positive feeling energy, and I'm much more able to handle problems when they come at me without reacting in a way that I would regret later. And so that's what I've
100%.
noticed for myself.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then of course, estrogen reduction, right? Like we need estrogen 100%. Now, like I said, I'm going down the rabbit hole of estrogen. Anthony J reading his book right now, Estrogenetics, and learning like how much estrogen is in our lives. But that's another topic. That's another
It's a related topic, though. No question about it.
It's crazy. But, you know, just being able to, the ashwagandha and DIM, that will help level out, because we do need a healthy estrogen levels so that we have our libido and improves our prostate health. We too much, obviously, is disastrous, and too little is as well.
Yeah. What I think you nailed it. I think the issue isn't that estrogen itself is harmful, but that in this day and age, so much exposure to estrogen from our food supply, from plastics, from you name it, we're touching, paper that leads to, has estrogen effects on the body. And the combination of it all, I think, is what's leading our levels of estrogen nowadays to be much higher than they were in the past, which of course
40%.
subsequently results in lower testosterone levels than we would ideally like to have. So it's important, I think, to address that and in a way that is a healthy and with compounds that, again, have been clinically studied, such as ashwagandha and DIM.
Yeah. One of the things I'm deep into this book, but in the 80s, talking about testosterone and going to your testosterone levels checked. We had a conversation this morning. I don't know if you were on our hangout where guys were saying, yeah, my GP won't even give me a freaking testosterone. I've been like, they're like, oh no, you don't need it. You don't need it. We're not going to do one. It's like, are you insane? Like that. When I heard that, you saw me. I was like,
I saw you.
Let me get my hands on that guy, that doctor. Anyways, right now, the range, first of all, the range is horrible. Like from low, when you get your testosterone levels back, there's a range 250 to 1,000. That's the range of normal. So if you're 251, that's extremely low. And if the nurse sees you're 251 or your doctor sees you 251, they're going to say, oh, you got normal testosterone because you're in that range. But if you think about this, back in the 1980s, the range was 500. Like I'm talking total testosterone, nanograms per deciliter, 500 to 1,500 was normal. Like, so it was, and then in the 90s, it's 400. And then in the 2000s, it's 300. Now it's 250. It just keeps getting less and less. Like to the point where who knows, maybe in 5, 6, 7 years, it's going to be 100 and 100, which is, a tall tale sign that men are being suppressed, right? Specifically, if they don't want you to get your testosterone levels checked. They're not telling us a lot about, like, when I first had my levels checked when I was 39, I didn't realize that how much testosterone played into my overall health. And most men who come into my program have no clue that it's actually, you want to lose belly fat? Let's focus on your hormones, testosterone, cortisol, not just this diet and that diet and keto diet. Yeah, well, after you lose your 20 pounds of keto diet, because you can't keep up with it because it's not sustainable, now you added 30 more pounds. Now you're even heavier and you still have no clue what to do, right? So it's balancing your hormones by really addressing testosterone in a natural way, because it's the behaviors, like you said, it's actually the lifestyle behaviors that will help with naturally increasing and balancing hormones, insulin, and then your thyroid, right? That's where the metabolic metabolism kicks in, right? It's the thyroid that supports all of that. So metabolic health, that was a big thing for us here too, right? Talk us through that.
Absolutely. And as probably anybody who's been listening knows, that's where my passion lies. And so I thought, we can't create this product without thinking about the effects of metabolic health and thinking about what compounds can improve our blood glucose regulation. And I think we found a few that really have powerful effects and have shown in, again, clinical studies with individuals who have who are overweight, may have some metabolic issues to really dramatically improve blood glucose levels, such as the compound uva-ursi, and then the compound, everyday compound cinnamon. But if it's a certain type of cinnamon that we were able to find and include that, again, in individuals with type 2 diabetes, that it showed improvement, not just in glycemic parameters, but also in anthropometric parameters. And the reason this is so important was going back to what I was saying earlier of this connection between our metabolic health and our hormonal health. It's such a bidirectional relationship. Your point well taken, that if your testosterone levels are in a good place, then metabolically you're going to have beneficial effects. But the same thing can go both ways, that if you improve your metabolic health state, it's going to lead to enhanced production of the anabolic hormones. And your ability to recover from workouts is so important. And well, first of all, you want to have the energy to go work out. But and so if you're in an unhealthy metabolic state, you're not going to feel so good. You're not going to feel like moving, and that can lead to a negative cycle of sedentary lifestyle, excessive food consumption for your energy expenditure, which promotes weight gain, unhealthy weight gain at that. And so we really want to find a way out of that cycle. And I'm not saying that these particular only compounds will take you out of that cycle, but you want to get your body and mind into a better, healthier metabolic state, which will then lead to you feeling better, more motivated to move around, which will then further enhance your metabolic health and lead to better anabolic results down the road.
Right. And that's important, specifically if you, and so, for me, I'm the lifestyle guy, right? So I want to make sure that you're working out, you got your nutrition on point, you got, recovery, sleep, all of those things. And then supplementation comes in. But let's just say that you're just coming into one of my programs or any program. This would be the first supplement I would literally put you on, whereas before it wouldn't be, because I know that you're going to have all of the other things in place in time as you learn about, these are the type of foods to eat and not to eat, as you get back into a workout state. Because if you don't have the energy to work out, it's still going to be challenging. But if you have something that's going to give you that energy, and at least not just energy, but like just start getting the right compounds into the body to put your body in a state where it's like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit better. Okay. Okay. Let me go get this workout in. I was able to get through the workout. It was tough. And then, now I'm starting to feel, now all of the things are starting to happen where I'm feeling better. Sleep. You're going to get good sleep, better sleep with this. So that's another thing we get feedback from. I'm sleeping much better now that I'm taking some. 3 or 4 people just said that out of the blue the other day. Like it was last week. They're like, "Oh, dude, my sleep is way better. The quality of sleep is way better now since I've been taking that." It's like all of these things because of, what we put in here, your knowing the right things to put in and to suggest, and then us kind of going through it all, man, it made total sense. It was incredible.
I'm delighted to hear that about the sleep too. I've noticed that personally, and
yes.
And that's something we hadn't talked about a lot, but so important. So
yes.
important. It's really the 3 pillars of sleep, diet, and exercise. And of course, within each of those pillars, there's a million different things we can talk through. But
right.
If we're not sleeping well, we're not going to feel well. And that sleep is when we heal and recover, and also when we produce our anabolic hormonal responses. And so when our body naturally is able to produce hormones that help sustain us. And so if we're not sleeping well, we're not going to be in the best state. So it's great that this is helping people sleep better.
100%. And then of course, the libido, I've been getting a lot of good feedback from that. Guys are waking up with the wood again. I'm waking up with the wood again, like guys are waking up with the morning wood. The blood flow was important for you too. I remember we talked about this. You're like we got to get L-arginine in there. I'm like, okay, talk to me about it.
No doubt about it, because it's all interrelated. And so if we can get the circulation improved a little bit or a lot, ideally, if needed, but it can enhance the delivery of nutrients to the whole system, and help just circulate what's needed and remove what's not needed. And so it's, and again, when we're not in as healthy of a metabolic state as we want to be, what's one of the downsides of you see the extreme with type 2 diabetes, where at the end of the day, certain body parts are not getting enough circulation and have to, they no longer function. And so we want to obviously avoid that outcome. And, for most people, they're not at that severe of a state, but many of us who have any sort of metabolic issue that can influence our circulation. And if our circulation is not as good as we want it to be, that influences our nutrient delivery. And so we want to have both, obviously, all three of those working in our favor: good circulation, good nutrient delivery, and good metabolic health. And so that's part of why I thought it was so important to have nutrients that enhance vasodilation, get the nutrients delivered where they need to go.
Like niacin, L-arginine, citrulline. It's
Exactly.
funny because the L-niacin was one thing that, like, this is not our first, this is the second, so the first time we did this product, it was supposed to be unflavored, right? So sometimes when you speak to the manufacturer, sometimes just it's just a communication, right? I said unflavored, but he just thought, when I meant unflavored, I meant no flavor, so that you can add it anywhere. But his unflavored was don't add any flavoring. So it would taste like dirt, really, because you're going to get the holy basil and all of the the all natural nutrients. So it's not going to taste great. I had to go back, and now we use cherry. Cherry for me was a natural choice because cherry also helps with testosterone. I know it's a cherry flavoring, but it's still just that correlation to me made sense. But now, it was important to have something that tastes good, because if it doesn't taste good, then you're not going to use it. And so the cherry was great, but then the L-niacin, is what I wanted to come back to, because sometimes you get some feedback, like you get some not feedback. Yeah, I guess feedback from it when you take it. Like some people get flushed, but it is such a powerful supplement ingredient compound. Right?
Totally. It really is. And it can, at the micro level, help our arteries and our capillaries vasodilate a little bit. And again, that allows for nutrients to be delivered and allows for waste products to be taken out of the cells. And the niacin is something that I've become more and more a believer in, that it can have independent effects just in and of itself on all these health parameters that was why I thought it'd be important to put in the product. It's at a level that's higher than most people would maybe naturally take or take in most other supplements, but it's not at such a level that it's going to cause any concerning issues in my from what I've read.
No, and it doesn't with these guys. I mean, they love it. I mean, and it's so funny because a lot of guys are like, oh yeah, no, nice. I heard of that. Was one of the compounds where I was surprised how many of these guys knew how good it is, like the benefits that come from it. Like,
right.
It's not something it's not like creatine or zinc or magnesium that comes off everyone's tongue. But these guys knew, niacin is good. And, the circulation and heart and all of the things that it helps, they already knew. So it was actually very surprising.
It's cool to hear.
Yeah. So it's really good.
Yeah, and I think that flush is really, again, some people, the first time they may take the product, they may experience a little flush, but nothing to be concerned about. They may not, but if they do, it's usually very temporary, and it's good for the body to be able to have that flush and that temporary increase in vasodilation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And then zinc, of course, we threw, you have to have zinc in there. And I think, if you look down the line of there'll be a link in this. I also wanted Fedosia agrestis in there as well, because, listening to Andrew Huberman and Joe Rogan and Derek from More Plates, More Dates talk about that compound, I wanted to put that in there specifically with the Tonkat Ali and really see what the effects of the natural testosterone increase. We've had guys who've already had their testosterone levels checked and can say that nothing else has changed but the addition of the supplement and their testosterone level is now increasing by 100. I mean, 100 points plus, and that's good news. 90 days on this is going to really give you that true, I think, the true first look at how beneficial it is. The first time you take this, you're going to feel benefits. Like everyone says, oh yeah, as soon as I took it, I felt like I had more energy. I felt happier. I felt, oh, okay, let's go. Right. And we also made sure that you're taking it 5 times a week and with 2 days off. If someone wanted to take this 7 days, if someone wanted to take this whole thing every day, they could. It's just there's only 20 servings, and this is something you can take forever, along with everything else in your life, because now we want to be able to reach 1,500 for your testosterone. The more testosterone you have as you get older, that's the goal is maximizing the amount of testosterone you have as we get older. It's not just hitting 500; it's hitting 1,500 if you can. It's hitting 1,000 if you can. And so, to me, it's not just about that, but having the 2 days off, I think was important.
My opinion is we said that for a reason. It allows the body a little time to reset, and then it also increases sensitivity to when you do take it again.
Right.
And so that would be the recommendation. Of course, like you said, for everybody, it's going to individualize for what works best for them. Maybe some people 6 days on, 1 day off works a little better, but as a rule, I would say it's good to just give 1 day of rest for the body in terms of just allowing it to clear out and then when you do take it again, it'll have a more powerful effect.
Yeah, I like the 5 and 2. I find that the 5 days on, 2 days off. I usually just leave the weekends off actually, and Monday to Friday, because it's easier for me. And so there's 2 times I take it. Once I like to take it after my workout, because I take things before, like I have Metabolic Blast, which is a pre-workout. So I have my pre-workout stuff that gets me through the workout. Sometimes beta alanine, I'll take depending on if I want more conditioning and more, just longer, like hitting that lactate threshold, giving it a little bit, prolonging that. But after my workouts, I'm dying. Like whether it's a 30-minute, I'm dying. So having this after the workout, I take 1 scoop of BCAAs. 1 scoop of protein, 1 scoop of my Alpha Max test, shake that up in water and drink it, and I down it. I'm not a little sippy person. I'm get this in, let's go. And I feel great. Like it gives me that energy, and also starts the muscle recovery. This is now just for me. Not everyone has a different, so I'm excited to hear when you like to take yours. But and then so that's on workout days, which is usually 3 days. I work out 4 days a week, but 3 days during the week. And then the other 2 times, 1 day is during our hangout, Alpha Hangout. I have a Facebook hangout. It's called the Alpha Test Hangout, where whoever's on and they have their Alpha Max test, we take a scoop and then gets energy through. And then sometimes I'll take it at 3 p.m. when you have that little time when you're just kind of like a little bit tired. You know what I mean? It gives us that energy. But that's me. That's when I take it. But when do you take it?
That's cool about your experience, and I think it's great, to take it after workout, and nothing wrong with it taking it anytime except for maybe not too late at night, and because it could lead to more, sustained energy for a period of time and potentially not allow you to sleep when you want to sleep. But
I made that mistake once.
Okay, fair enough.
I was up till 3 in the morning going, what the hell's going on? I'm like, I took it at 10.
Exactly. Fair enough. So to answer your question, what I've been most often taking it is around somewhere between 4 to 5 p.m. in the afternoon before my afternoon workout. And, there's no wrong time, like you said, but for me, usually by the end of the day, if I've been working a long day, I'm, wanting a little pick me up and ready to go. And it gives me that nice energy for several hours after. And again, I don't want to, the only reason I tend not to take it, let's say after the workout, is because I may have so much energy for too long. So for me, I try to take it somewhere around 5 p.m. at the latest on weekdays. Yeah.
That's amazing. I do want to ask you about I'm gonna have you on again because
Sure.
I want to talk about intermittent fasting, because I know that you're doing stuff with intermittent fasting and metabolic health, and even maybe taking this Alpha Max test in a fasted state. Depending on, like, I know we had this conversation because for me, there's different types of fasting. I like the 16-8 fast. In fact, my wife is really using fasting right now. She's learning more about fasting, metabolic health, with I can't remember what doctor she watches on YouTube, but and menopause and all of that stuff. But everything she is saying, this doctor, because I listened to it, is amazing. And so Angela's really diving into to fasting and kind of resetting her body as well. And so
That's great.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy to come on again, and we can do a deeper dive into fasting and the many potential benefits, and maybe who it's good for, who it's not good for, or potentially who should be careful with it. But to your question, I think you were getting at, can you take this product in a fasted state?
Yes.
And I think it's okay as long as it doesn't cause any as long as it's doesn't create any sort of negative reaction. By that I mean, some people in a fasted state have trouble digesting compounds, but there's no compound that would be intolerable in a fasted state.
I've taken it many times.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think just everybody experiments with what works for them, for the most part. Yeah.
And the reason why I was talking about the different types of fasting is because sometimes when I fast, I'm fasting from food and not from like, oh, I can't have any calories. Now, I'm gonna try to restrict as many calories as possible while I'm fasting, because sometimes I will fast if I had a guilt-free meal the night before, or sometimes I will strategically use fasting. Sometimes I'll just go a 20-day fast, and but a lot of those fasting times is from actual food. So if I ingest something with a little bit of calories, like some fat, sometimes you can still stay in ketosis and autophagy,
in a ketogenic
even with
state.
a little bit of fat. Like you're not like if it's MCT, it's not going to take you out of your ketosis. In that type of, I'm not talking about keto. I'm talking about like the ketosis that you get from fasting. And so sometimes people get too, and for me, it's just like, hey man, I'm just not eating anything. I'm not gonna, have sugary drinks or whatever when I'm fasting. But if I want to have a little bit of MCT, I may or may not. Doesn't matter. But if I'm gonna work out fasted at that time, because now I'm working out fasted, maybe I'm doing a 20-hour fast, and I'm gonna work out in hour number 19 because I've strategically said I'm gonna break my fast after my workout. Well, maybe this is a product that I want to use to give me the energy to get a better workout in, as opposed to like just kind of going through the motions, right?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying 100%. It's good to be a little bit flexible with that approach, and not to feel like you just can't do something like that. Because, for example, if you take either the MCT or our product, you're likely going to get a better workout in than if you didn't, and just try to force yourself to stay fasting through that last 2 hours. And at the end of the day, what's better and what has a better metabolic effect, which is the ultimate goal, right?
Right.
So let's so it's good to have the ability to be flexible in these types of decisions, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to dive in. That's going to be for sure. Hey man, this has been amazing. This has been absolutely incredible.
I've enjoyed it.
I love it. And I hope everyone listening now has all of the ammunition you need to go out and go to funksupplementsshop.com, go to funksupplements.com. I'm going to keep it simple. Funksupplements.com. Get our Alpha Max Test 3D. It's a natural testosterone boosting powder. So it's a powder as opposed to pills. 1 scoop is all you need. It's cherry. It tastes absolutely amazing. That was very important for us, is the taste. Just drink it with water. You heard us go through most of, if not almost all of the ingredients, natural ingredients. We made sure that when we could, because sometimes, the FDA may go, oh, it's a little bit too much. We got to a little bit down. But, it was important for us to use the research formulation when we could, which is for most of these, because that is, a lot of times some companies will say, oh yeah, we have Tribulus and Tonkat Ali and L-arginine, all these things that help with specific things with testosterone. And they do, but if you don't have the actual amount that was in the study, then it's not apples to apples. You're saying, oh, here's 100 milligrams of uva ursi because it improves lipid profile and blood glucose, which will help with their metabolic health, because this study had 800 in it. It's like, okay, well, but you only put 100. So, like there's smoke and mirrors. I wanted to make sure that, because our name's on it, right? Mm-hmm. I think your name's on it. Well, your name is going to be on it. But I mean, no name being Funk Supplements. Like I can't half step here. There's no half step and there's no faking the funk. I gotta bring it because my name is on it. And this has been great. I'm so happy I had you on this. And we'll talk more about all kinds of health. We'll come in and talk about metabolic health. We'll come and talk about aging. We'll come and talk about intermittent fasting, and having you on more, I think it will be really good. And then anything that any other guy wants you to address that's in your wheelhouse, I think it'd be amazing.
You got it.
Sound good? Okay, so I forgot to say, if you listen to this podcast right now, go to funksupplements.com, grab Alpha Max Test, use the code podcast10 to get an extra 10% off. And get 3 bottles, because every bottle has 20 servings, because you're taking 5 per week. So 20 servings, get 3 bottles. There's a better bundle price. Get it shipped to you because it's going to take 90 days. So you're going to feel right off the bat, but the 90 days is like that good time to see and feel the results and get your testosterone levels checked 100%. Right now, as you're listening to this, go and demand that your doctor give you a testosterone check, or go to Let's Get Checked and get it done. Any last words, Steve? Dr.
No, it's been great to talk with you. I'll be happy to come back anytime.
So, awesome. Thanks so much. Awesome. Thanks so much for having you. And we'll see you in the next podcast.